Thank you, David. Good morning, and welcome to the Unity of the Palm Beaches virtual Sunday celebration service. My name is Diane Bruce. I'm Executive Director here, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this experience and also to sincerely thank you for choosing to be a part of this collective contribution. And now Reverend Taylor will lead us in our opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, David, for your beautiful music. Thank you, Diane. And thank you for being here, for being a part of this experience, for choosing to lend your consciousness to uplifting our world. Let's do that right now, shall we? Let's drop our attention down into our hearts and really feel the heart space, feel the breath, feel the moment. All precious, precious sacraments. As we breathe together, as we allow the body to relax, the heart to open, the mind to become more spacious, we very intentionally begin this time, again, as a contribution to all living beings. There is something greater than the individual. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. As we choose to be together, to pray together, to connect together, to shine together, our world is transformed. We are grateful for this time. We are grateful for this opportunity. We are grateful for the privilege of co-creating this reign of unity here and now. And so it is. Amen.
And now for today's daily word, inner peace. I express the peace of God. Peace, be still. With these words, Jesus claimed his authority and calmed the stormy waters. Following Jesus' example, I too claim authority. In a stressful moment, I center my awareness in the divine presence that lives in me and expresses through me. This divine presence is perfect life, love, and wisdom. It is peace that nothing and no one can disturb. No matter what may be happening around me, at the center of my being, there is always peace. It is an aspect of my divine inheritance, as near to my as my next thought. I release all fear and tension and embrace the peace of God. As I do, divine peace radiates from the center of my being. It clarifies my thoughts, calms my emotions, and relaxes my body. In every situation, I am a presence of peace. And from Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you. And now Trish and David will lead us into meditation.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
So wherever you are in this moment, whether you are alone, with someone else, on whatever device you may be watching and listening. I invite you to once again bring your awareness down into your body. Dropping out of the head space. Down into the heart center. And then grounding yourself on the chair upon which you sit. Really feeling that connection between heart and body. And groundedness. Heart, body. Grounded in just this moment. This moment. If you are not already, become aware and even curious about your breathing. Feeling intimately the expansion and the contraction. The rhythm of all creation happening in you. The rhythm of all of creation happening right now in you. As you. As you become aware that you have begun to follow the thought stream, just gently come back to the heart, to the breath, to the moment. Feel the aliveness, the animating spirit. the Godness individualizing in you. Now, beneath those chattering thoughts, beneath the chaos and distractions of this world, there is spaciousness. There is stillness. There is pure source. We release the words and the conscious sounds. We become still. Be still. As you hear the melody, my words, I invite you to continue to feel the underlying spaciousness, the underlying stillness that is the essence of all being. And so it is. Amen.
Hallelujah. times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought to my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you. I'll be forever thankful. You're the one who held me up, never let me fall. You're the one who saw me through it all. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me, lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I'm everything I am because you love me. You gave me wings and made me fly. You touched my hand, I could touch the sky. I lost my faith, you gave it back to me. You said no star was out of reach. You stood by me and I stood tall. I have your love, I have it all. I'm grateful for each day you give me. Maybe I don't know that much, but I know this much is true. I'm so blessed because I was loved by you. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me, lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I'm everything I am because you love me. You were always there for me, the tender wind that carried me, light in the dark, shining your love into my life. You've been my inspiration, for the lies you were the truth. My world is a better place because of you. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me, lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I'm everything I am because you love me. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me, lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe. I'm everything I am because you love me. I'm everything I am because you love me.
Thank you, Trish, and thank you, David. Beautiful. I'm grateful to never lose sight or perspective about how important our music is, and we are really, truly blessed to have the best, the best. So while we don't have our complete roster of soloists, we got a really good one. So thank you, Trish. Thank you, David. We're very, very blessed. That song, Because You Loved Me, I'm sure to most of you that song is familiar. It was actually released 24 years ago this month. It was on the American debut album of, at the time, a little known Canadian singer who's gone on to do okay, Celine Dion. And that song was introduced to me in a very interesting way that I want to share with you. It's always touched me deeply. Not only is it a beautiful song, masterfully recorded and performed and masterfully sung for us here this morning, but it just, the lyric of it, and the way in which it was introduced to me, I had never heard of Celine Dion. I'd not heard the song, had never heard the album that again was introduced in February of 1996. A friend of mine and I were going somewhere in the car, and this is when, oh, the good old days when you could still play CDs in cars. I miss it now that I have that Apple Play thing. But my friend said, oh my God, I've got to play this song for you. I've got to play this song for you. Now, let me back up for just a second and create a little bit more context for you. This is probably March, toward the early part of March in 1996. Late November of 1995, at that time, the love of my life, my spouse, Richard, had died. And I was still, as you might imagine, in March of 96, really reeling. I don't think I had really come out of the shock of the whole thing, though I knew it was coming, but I don't think you can ever fully prepare for a loss. And so this friend, who was also a friend of Richard's, played this song for me. Now, hear the lyric. In March of 96, after having survived the death of a spouse in November of 95. And so, because you loved me. And so, as I listened to the song, I began to weep. And my friend realized, I guess, not the best timing. But I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, oh, no, don't cry. I was hearing it spiritually, not like Richard and you. I was hearing it because you loved me, like spiritually, because you loved me. And you know, even at the time, I got that. And so that song taught me, and I think even continues to teach me, about the distinction we make and the integration that we're invited into in terms of our human experience of love and the divine unfolding, embracing, and embodying of love here in this realm of experience. What I know for sure is that we come to know divine love via human love. Now, conceptually, and from the time I was a small child, I heard the teaching that this thing called God is love. What I also heard was an entire realm of theology that did not support the overarching concept that God is love. And so, even growing up in the evangelical church, I heard the words, God is love, and yet, why experientially, now it took a long time to get there, but why was I so terrified of love if, in fact, God is love? Well, partially because of that theology, the literal interpretation of this crucifixion theology, this atoning murder. It's really what it is. So the words were saying one thing, but the experience down inside, particularly of a child, that was saying something completely different. And then, in terms of the human realm, I was continuously taught that what I was organically was not acceptable, was not lovable. And so, in my adult experience, probably first and foremost, and in that relationship with Richard, I came to know a level of love that I had not really known before. And that level of love within the human realm was a huge opening for me in terms of coming to know love at the spiritual level. And so while my friend said, "Oh, wait a minute, that song, I wasn't thinking about, don't cry, I wasn't talking about you and Richard." Well, yeah, it was about me and Richard. And she was right about spiritual love. Now, 7 years ago this week, Tuesday to be exact, I had then music director Sarah Lundquist Galloway sing that same song for what I guess would be called, as a former theater person, it was my audition Sunday to come here to be your spiritual leader. And so, though in many ways my personality self really liked my my itinerant minister gypsy kind of lifestyle of working when I wanted to work, and I, I knew that it was time to give even more of myself. And though it wasn't, as I said, a personality preference, I also knew that the deeper level of service, because I had come to know. Now, Richard was a Unity minister. He was the associate minister for Eric Butterworth in Unity of New York. That's how I knew him. And so there was this wonderful human connection of love that opened me to a broader spiritual connection within love. And then I knew that it was time for me to be again in a full-time experience where then I could give that love to you. And so when I hear that song today, I hear all three of those components, that because I was loved, I came to know that I am love. And because now I know that I am love, I serve as love. Now, in our humanness, I won't speak for anybody else. I'll just speak for myself. I love imperfectly. And I am all about mastering the ability to love regardless of whether or not it seems that people are lovable. You get me? Particularly in our culture today, with all of our divisiveness, there are people that we may vehemently disagree with. And so to say that we love that person, right? It's kind of easy to say, oh, I love everybody, right? That's easy. Loving that person that's right in front of you, being so disagreeable, that's another whole level. That's where the rubber kind of meets the road. That's where we've got to really integrate it. And it is, at least for me, maybe not for you, it is for me a process. It is something that I have to practice every moment of every day because I don't want love to just be a concept up here in my head. I want it to be the reality that I live within. I want to love in such a way that people know that they can be loved. That they can be loved regardless of how they may be behaving. This is described almost perfectly in a little section of a novel, a Russian novel by Dostoevsky. I think I probably shared this with some of you before, but I just love this. And I literally, I read this every single week, every week, as a part of my own personal spiritual practice and as a part of my ministerial commitment. I read this, I let it sink down into my cell tissue, and I invite you to perhaps do the same. Love people even in their sin, for that is the semblance of divine love and is the highest love on earth. Love all of God's creation, the whole and every grain of sand of it. Love every leaf, every ray of God's light. Love the animals, love the plants, love everything. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in things. Once you perceive it, you will begin to comprehend it better every day. And you will come at last to love the whole world with an all-embracing love. That, for me, just captures it. And again, often when I officiate at weddings, Hallmark Love says that in terms of romantic engagements, that we are to find the perfect person to love. And I learned a long time ago that I don't think that's true. Number one, if I found the perfect person to love, like, what would they want with me? You, you know? And I don't think it's about finding the perfect person to love. It's about loving the imperfect perfectly. Now, in the ancient languages, I'll remind you again that the word perfect is most closely translated as inclusive. So to love perfectly is to love inclusively. Meaning, of course, that as Dostoevsky told us, love people even in their sin. Now, I know the word sin is not really popular in Unity and New Thought. I don't personally have a problem with sin. It's an archery term. It means you miss the mark. And I don't know, I've already missed the mark multiple times today. I can embrace that about myself. I'm an imperfect human, really seeking to allow myself to be as inclusive as possible, to move into greater and greater concentric circles of love. What I love so much about this particular writing is that it's clearly a process. It's like, I feel like it's kind of a love gymnasium. Like, you begin by loving God's creation, the whole and every grain of sand of it. You love the animals, you love the plants. And so for me, um, it's easier. Like, let's get real, shall we? It's easier to love a baby goat than a lot of people I know. Like, it's easier to love a banyan tree sometimes, or the Atlantic, or a blueberry muffin, or it's easier to love things that do not have self-reflective, dualistic consciousness. Things that just are what they are, and they express as they express. And I love and adore the natural realm. As I've talked about recently, the clouds and the trees and the birds, I always call them my birds. They're always my birds. I own all of the birds. They are all my personal possessions, right? I think because I feed them, they're all mine. And so it's so easy to love blue jays, right? Even when they're squawking away, and I just love them. And so for me, this writing gives me a way to practice, again, concentrically inclusive and expanding circles of love. And so that the love muscle, if you will, gets stronger as we practice it day by day by day, really consciously. And I found this during this time of distancing, because we are not, I do nothing. Right? I mean, I work at home, and I come here on Sunday morning. And as I say, week after week, I go to my park in my natural realm, and I get to experience the lake and the birds and the clouds and all of creation. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then I go back home, and then from all that love of the natural realm, then my precious, and then Donald says something or does something, and I know I love him, and there's that human, right? And so then I get to apply this inclusive loving. I so often, particularly watching what's been unfolding in our country and in our world, and I pray to the masters, like, how do I love humanity? Some of you are easy. Some are easier than others. Some are mostly easy. Some are really, if we're honest, I think some are really, really challenging. And so I think, how do I love people when this stuff is coming out of their mouth and when they're doing me? How do I love? And then I look at that word, how, right? And it's how, heart open wide, right? Heart open wide. And just like the heart muscle, though I'm referring to the spiritual heart, the heart center, I cannot love all inclusively in my head, though that's easier, right? It's easier to just mentally say, as awakening spiritual beings, well, yeah, oh, I love all people. Because, see, that's what we're supposed to say as spiritual beings. And the truth of the matter is that oftentimes we are not loving all people. We don't even love ourselves most of the time. So that's the integration, is that we open our hearts and then it closes. And then we notice that the heart is closed, and then we open the heart. And that becomes the movement of an engaged and an active spirituality. So we here in unity. See, unity is referring to the whole. Love all of creation, regardless of how someone may be expressing in any given moment. Open your heart and at least be willing. Be willing to become more when someone is becoming less. So it doesn't matter, because most of you out there, you know all the right things to say. You know all the right affirmations. You know all the right teachings. You know all of the concepts. And then there's the reality. Right? There's the reality of what's happening in our world today. And there are things we see. There are those people that we disagree with. And those are the very people. See, there's the invitation for us to face head on the things that close our hearts and begin to work that, if you will, to strengthen the love muscle, to strengthen the ability to say, you know what, let me get honest here. I don't like what you are doing. I do not like what you are saying. I do not like what you represent. I do not like your ideology. And if I'm going to be an embodiment of unity, I am going to I'm going to accept the fact that I don't like it, and I'm willing to accept and to love. And that is a process. And it begins by loving every grain of sand, loving every leaf, loving every ray of sun, loving that baby goat, and loving the blue jays, and loving the blueberry muffins, and loving all of the manifest realm. And I'm going to love beings of dualistic consciousness who don't yet know. And this is, if you don't hear anything else, hear this. People that deep down don't know they're loved show up in the most unskillful sort of ways. And see, I can easily identify, and there have not been many, there have only been a few, because someone loved me when I was showing up in such unlovable ways. I will spend the rest of my life loving those who do not know they're loved. And this is not easy. It is not easy, but because you loved me, Richard, because you loved me, Mary, because you loved me, Donald, because I am going to love. I am going to love to the best of my ability. And those who say, that love doesn't hurt, oh, yes, it does. Love hurts because you will lose people who love you. People that you love die. We have lost 7 people in this congregation since we began distancing. And we have not been able to really fully be together to acknowledge and to integrate that. So Love hurts in that regard, and it hurts to love people when they are showing up at their worst. It is like a pain, and I know that it's why I'm here. I know because life loves me, I am going to love you. And I'm going to slip up. And I told you all 7 years ago in that lecture, and I meant this, and I can still feel it to this day, because I didn't know who was going to end up here. And I told you all, those of you who were around then, it don't matter whether or not you choose me. I choose you. And I didn't mean that I chose to sign a contract. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to choose to stay here ad infinitum. I am not a young man. What it means is I'm going to choose to love you, and I'm going to choose the people who are telling stories about me behind my back, which are, and I know this personally, we project our most unconscious stuff onto other people. And it's that unconscious storytelling, it's the stuff that gets projected out that will make or break a spiritual community. And I can feel it when it's happening. In order to serve our own story, we will take down an entire community. Well, it ain't happening on my watch, but I will call you out. Count on it. Because there's something bigger than our own little personal stories and our own little personal preferences. And I am willing, whether or not you love me, I'm going to love you. Why? Because I'm love. And the damnedest thing about spirituality is you don't get to exclude one person. Not one person. I hate that sometimes. But that's the truth of it. Because this thing we call God loves all. I just said this to somebody the other day, and the look on their face was priceless. If you don't love that person is God. I don't care what they're spewing out of their mouth. That person is God. And if you don't love them, so there's our spirituality. This concentric acceptance, and it's a process that starts with acceptance. Accept that people are unskillful. Are you skillful all the time? Come on now, tell the truth. I know you, so don't lie. I'm not, but we got to accept that. Acceptance is the only opening for something greater to happen. This year, we're looking at beyond me. Beyond just me, I'm going to love. And the worse you are, the stronger I become. Thank you. You know who you are, you couple ornery little things. I'm getting bigger muscles because of you. Because we are loved, we love in order to know we are love. You with me? There it is. That's what unity is. It is prayer, and it is love. And so, because somebody else showed me love, I will pay that forward for the rest of my days. I'm here not for you to choose me, for me to choose you. I will love you imperfectly, but persistently. So look out, honey. Just look out, because I'm going to love you regardless of how you show up. Why? Because that's what I am. That's what I am. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Taylor. We trust that you have been spiritually fed by our gathering this morning. Though we continue to be socially distanced, we remain committed to providing you with a full roster of virtual activities until we are able to gather again at our Temple Israel home. Please see the website or check the Conscious Connection newsletter to find out all that is happening. We remind you weekly that though we are not physically together, our expenses remain fixed. We rely on the contributions of our spirit family in order to sustain our Unity home. So I invite you to activate our 4th and 5th Unity principles, namely praying the law and taking inspired action. Feel your love and appreciation for what we co-create together as a felt sense prayer, and then take inspired action by donating on our website or by using any one of our technical instruments to materialize your prayer. You are also welcome to send a check to our office. Your support is indeed appreciated. Please join me in reciting the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love of God. The power of God protects me. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence of God. Wherever God is, I am, and all is well. And now David and Trish will lead us in Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Have a blessed week. See you next Sunday.